Kingdom Hearts is the majestic union of Disney and Square Enix that has been getting an increasingly dedicated and massive fanbase over the years. This action RPG has been equally rich in both lore and gameplay mechanics that has evolved and grown with each release. Given the nature of these games, there is a lot to cover in what is presented to us, but there is also a great amount of cut content and changes in development that never made it into the final products that could have made the games and the series go in a radically different direction.
Hey guys, it's HMK, and in this video project we're going to take a look at the most interesting and pivotal cut content in the Kingdom Hearts series and talk about what could have been. And I have a good friend with me along for the ride.
And that is I, Loxton, from channel Gnoggin, and I'm here to help you guys use your heads while we think about this.
Some of this content shows very familiar sights in the Kingdom Hearts series, but some paint a very different picture of what could have been in the series. So let's get into it, shall we? This is what could have been in Kingdom Hearts.
Now, before you say to yourself that this is just another cut content / beta video on Kingdom Hearts, we're gonna stop you right there, because this is a different project entirely.
We are going to take a look at some of the most famous, or should I say infamous, cut content from the Kingdom Hearts series, and use what we know about it and the series itself as it currently stands to speculate on what could have been when it comes to these elements that are no longer in the game, and how they could have affected the course of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, in terms of additions, gameplay, and of course, lore and story.
Let's go back to the beginning and take a look at the original Kingdom Hearts that was released in 2002. This was the start of the unusual yet harmonious union of many aspects: action and RPG gameplay, Disney and Final Fantasy. It all worked. But there were some things cut that may have improved the series, or may have put a damper on it. First and foremost, we should talk about Sora's infamous original design, where he was a half-boy, half-lion hybrid thing. A little weird, but it wouldn't stray too far from the whole Disney cartoony side of things. That weapon of his, on the other hand, chainsaw swords. Ooh, that's a little too violent for Disney now, isn't it?
It's pretty obvious why this thing got scraped, but why Sora's design? Trust me, there aren't any complaints over on our end about it, but maybe a thought about this is that the original design Sora had was supposed to show the true union of both Disney and Final Fantasy properties. Disney is arguably well known for their anthropomorphic animal characters, while Final Fantasy is known for their anime-esque characters, and Sora, being a little bit of both, shows the true union of those two types of art styles. Sora was the living, walking embodiment of that.
Another loss from the original Kingdom Hearts is the popular Final Fantasy summon Bahamut. He was originally supposed to be a summon for Sora. As we all should know by this point, the summon ability in Kingdom Hearts is a gameplay element taken from Final Fantasy. However, the summons themselves are purely Disney characters, another supposed sign of union. And perhaps that is why Bahamut was ultimately cut.
Let's think. If Bahamut remained a summon in Kingdom Hearts, this would obviously pave the way for a bunch of other Final Fantasy summons to appear in the series, perhaps including the likes of Ifrit or Roma. Summons like this would definitely trump the likes of the other Disney summons in terms of scale and power, and will lead to balancing issues.
Along with that, it could be possible that Bahamut's planned inclusion may have signaled or led to Final Fantasy having a much larger role in the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise. Since after all, the Disney summons all have their backstories explored at least a little bit. They may not have wanted to include Final Fantasy summons so that they wouldn't have to go into their backstories.
This is indeed a case because many summons from the Final Fantasy series have relationships with various characters of the series, exceptionally similar to how some Disney summons have bonds with characters in the game and from the films.
In the first trailer of Kingdom Hearts, there were a couple scenes that didn't make its way into the final game. A number of these scenes featured Sora's best friend Riku. In one interesting scene, it shows Riku on the edge of the crumbling Destiny Islands in the storm that destroyed it in the beginning of the game. Riku seems to say things to Sora that anger him so much that Sora races to attack Riku with his Keyblade while his back is turned.
This act is nowhere near replicated in any Kingdom Hearts game, and Sora's behavior in the final version doesn't hint at him doing something like this, especially to his best friend. Perhaps what could have been is that Riku and Sora's friendship would have been more abrasive and strained than what we see in the final product.
Hints of this can be found within Kingdom Hearts itself, with Riku treating Sora harshly at various points of the game, especially at Hollow Bastion, and Sora seemingly tired of Riku's shit in the beginning of the game. A highlight of this is when Riku suggested that he should share the Pow Pow fruit with Kairi. Perhaps what was the original case was that Sora and Riku fought more for Kairi's attention from what we see in the actual narrative. Traces of this can obviously be found in the game's current story, with Sora and Riku at odds when it comes to who should save Kairi.
If Kingdom Hearts would follow down this path, then Sora and Riku's characters would have changed dramatically, with Sora being less friendly of a person and willing to attack anyone who angers him to a point, while Riku would be more of a mocking character, and thus it would probably be harder for him to redeem himself due to his lesser friendship with Sora. Though if he still were to have a redemption at one point, it would be more meaningful.
With the case of Sora, it would draw a new dynamic, as where we have Sora now, other characters learn and grow from the goodness of his heart, discovering new boundaries and what it means to have a strong heart. Rather, Sora would have to learn from other characters in the Disney and Final Fantasy series and what it means to have a good, strong heart, and he would grow as a character in that sense.
Next, let's take a look at Kingdom Hearts 2. There is a lot of interesting cut content in this game that may have given us a completely different path.
One of the most striking actually comes from Kingdom Hearts and its final mix, and that is the secret trailers for Another Side, Another Story, and Deep Dive, and its focus on Roxas. At one point during the Deep Dive trailer, we see Roxas appearing at the Dark Margin to meet with Xemnas, a scene that did make it into the final narrative. However, in the scene, we see Roxas with a golden yellow eye.
As specifically stated by Tetsuya Nomura, director of the series and writer of the series, yellow eyes, yellow golden eyes, are a signature trait of Xehanort and those connected with him. Could it be that Roxas was already a vessel during his time with the organization? Was that the original plan?
A vessel is a host body in which the main antagonist of the Kingdom Hearts series, Master Xehanort, splinters his heart and places it within the host. This process begins to alter the host, and the end result is another Xehanort. In Organization 13, there are 3 confirmed members who are already vessels: Xemnas, Xigbar, and Saix. Roxas could have been confirmed as a 4th one.
A hint of this scraped idea is in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, when young Xehanort, while trying to turn Sora into a 13th vessel for Xehanort, explains to Riku that Roxas was the original choice for being a vessel, stating that he was the most worthy candidate. Although Roxas uses the light, it has been stated in multiple Kingdom Hearts sources that he does have an affinity for darkness as well, being able to command dark corridors and being a denizen of darkness. Another point to supplement this talk about Roxas' darkness is that the very same trailer for Deep Dive, Roxas is seen throwing his Oblivion Keyblade to Riku while running up Memory Skyscraper. In the next shot, it shows that the Keyblade that Roxas now holds in place of Oblivion is in fact the Kingdom Key D.
The Kingdom Key D is a variant of the Kingdom Key that Sora wields, and that was found in the Realm of Darkness, as the D stands for Darkness. This Keyblade is currently wielded by Mickey Mouse as his signature Keyblade. With Roxas wielding it in the trailer, perhaps what could have been is that this was supposed to be Roxas' default Keyblade instead of mirroring Sora's Kingdom Key. Perhaps this shows that Roxas was meant to be the true wielder of the Keyblade, since Sora would wield the one of light, and Roxas the one of darkness.
Interestingly enough, Mickey is actually seen at the end of the trailer wielding the regular Kingdom Key that would be wielded by Sora. So maybe the original plan was that Roxas at one point would take the Kingdom Key D away from Mickey, and if this scenario were to play out where Roxas was always destined to wield it, it could have been taken from Mickey in the same way Riku took the Keyblade from Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1.
To draw an additional parallel, Riku is closely tied with Mickey in the story of Kingdom Hearts, and Roxas is Sora's nobody. Having that tie will directly mirror the taking of the Keyblade.
So it could be that Roxas was going to be a significantly darker character in terms of affinity, and would cause great complications for Sora's group in more ways than one. This will give Xehanort a very dangerous setup for his plans against the Guardians of Light.
In early trailers of Kingdom Hearts 2, cutscenes can be seen where Sora, Donald, and Goofy are seen battling Heartless at the Great Crest Castle of Hollow Bastion from the first game. Also, Organization 13 can be seen at this location as well. The cutscene that plays is strikingly similar to a cutscene we see in the final game with the location moved to the postern in Radiant Garden. And this suggests that at one point, the Great Crest was intended to be accessible in Kingdom Hearts 2.
With the way that Sora seemed to be attacking the Heartless and trying to reach an unknown organization member, it could be hypothesized that the Great Crest was the original base of operations for the Organization 13, before being settled with the castle that never was in the world that never was.
Hints to this can be found in the final mix versions of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. In Kingdom Hearts 1, Xemnas appears as a secret boss in Hollow Bastion. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, an area called the Garden of Assemblage that is located in Radiant Gardens. The Garden of Assemblage contains data versions of the fallen organization members that can be fought for a more intense challenge. Perhaps what was originally intended was that the Great Crest was going to be the third castle base for the organization, as we already had a glimpse of the world that never was in the Kingdom Hearts Secret trailer in the form of Memory's skyscraper.
In the final game, Xemnas is shown to visit Hollow Bastion often for his own devices, and perhaps is the one that created the data versions of the organization members in the Garden of Assemblage itself. With many of the organization members originally coming from the Radiant Garden, there was always an inherent connection.
But the question would arise, where were they in Kingdom Hearts 1? Given how secretive the group is, Organization 13 may have been working from the shadows and choosing not to meddle with Sora during this time, which would give him a great opportunity to take back the Great Crest during his hibernation.
Another big and interesting piece of cut content from Kingdom Hearts 2 comes in the form of scrapped Xemnas forms during his final battle. As we see in these two bits of concept art, we see Xemnas taking the cityscape of the world that never was and using it to become a behemoth-like structure. These are tentatively referred to as Xemnas King form and Xemnas Ogre form. Looking at these concepts, they are very similar in design to the Xemnas Dragon in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Xehanort's no-heart Keyblade armor that Xemnas dons during certain segments of his arduous boss battle.
These cut forms would have more than likely been added segments to that boss battle, since Xemnas had absorbed a damaged version of Kingdom Hearts, would give him the boost he needed to assume such a form, coupled with the fact that Xemnas has shown to have the power of great telekinesis and can control buildings from the city as we see in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance.
From looking at the Xemnas King form, it could be that this is what we were originally supposed to fight when the Xemnas Dragon fused with the landscape and you had to fly over to its head in order to attack Xemnas on the throne.
As for the Ogre form, there is a segment where Sora and Riku have to chase down the Xemnas Dragon on an organization glider. Given the size of the Ogre, perhaps it was intended that the player would use the glider to scale the giant in order to attack it.
Finally, we come to the short scene where Sora seems to be preparing to seal a keyhole in the Realm of Darkness, specifically the Dark Margin.
Now this is very interesting because it would suggest that at one point Sora was supposed to explore the Realm of Darkness in Kingdom Hearts 2, something that won't be realized up until Birth by Sleep Final Mix, where you have to explore it as Aqua.
Sora and Riku do end up going to the Dark Margin in the game's finale, though in the form of a cutscene. But they do wind up going through the Door to Light and end up at Destiny Islands.
Now we get to that part, what could have been.
Right away, the first thing that you would think of is that the Dark Margin was originally supposed to be an explorable site, to a degree, whether it would act as a section for the world that never was, similar to how the Mysterious Tower was a part of Twilight Town, or be its own world entirely is up in the air. We never see Sora seal or unlock a keyhole in the world that never was, so it could be either. Perhaps a prospect like this could have further implications.
Remember, by the events of Birth by Sleep, both Aqua and Ansem the Wise have been confirmed to be lost in the Realm of Darkness. If Sora was originally supposed to lock the Realm of Darkness, he would have inadvertently sealed Aqua's and Ansem's fates. This story piece could have led to heavy amounts of remorse on Sora's part had he learned of Aqua's predicament.
Another scenario that could have played out is Sora sacrificing himself to the Realm of Darkness. If Sora ended up in the Realm of Darkness in a similar fashion as how he did at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, perhaps he had a reason as to why he sealed the keyhole to the Realm of Darkness, just like how he chose to close the door to darkness in Kingdom Hearts 1.
What I'm thinking, since it is the Realm of Darkness, there was probably something there very terrible, very powerful, very menacing that could have went out into the Realm of Light, and Sora had to close off the keyhole in the Realm of Darkness in order to save everyone outside. Perhaps this will have future games of the series try and save Sora from the realm of darkness, and maybe Sora and Aqua could even meet and you can save Aqua at the same time.
Next, we're going to talk a little bit about Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2.
This game had a good amount of cut content in terms of weapons, planned characters, and scrapped Pinocchio worlds. But what we believe to be the most interesting has to do with the game's protagonist, Sora's nobody and organization member number 13, Roxas.
In promotional material of the game, there's an art piece that shows the 8 surviving members of the organization after the fall of Castle Oblivion. What is interesting in this piece is that Roxas is shown to be older than what he is always portrayed as, with more defining features, longer hair, and body ratios that will put him around the age-body type of Demyx.
There is no explanation for this art, nor is it referenced or realized anywhere. So let's get to what could have been. As we see with the differences of confirmed somebodies of certain nobodies, such as Isa, Bragg, Lenzo, Lee, and apprentice Xehanort. Nobodies can grow up, noticeably when compared to their original selves, so it could be that Roxas was going to follow suit in 358 Days Over 2. But what you think doesn't add up is that 358 Days Over 2 takes place before Kingdom Hearts 2, and Roxas is already being portrayed as being younger than his promotional art. But this is where we open our eyes.
Remember, Roxas had his memory wiped by the end of 358 Days Over 2 and the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2. In Kingdom Hearts 2, his time with the organization was very scarce and everything we saw was through flashbacks. Flashbacks that could have played differently in 358 Days Over 2.
The way Roxas was perceived by others and himself and us could have been outdated information due to the flashbacks and wiping his memory.
Since Diz had to prepare him for his reunion with Sora, Roxas had to have no memory of his time in the organization or his growth.
When Roxas is seen meeting with Xemnas at the Dark Margin, this was at the start of 358 Days Over 2 when he first joined the organization. Notice how you hardly see his hair in this shot? Now skip to the segment where Roxas arrives at Memory Skyscraper. In 358 Days Over 2, this is at the end of the game where Roxas defects from the organization. Now see that his hair has grown noticeably to the point where it covers his eyes? This signals that he has grown to a point. So it boils down to the possibility that Roxas's design was initially set to be updated to show that time had passed for the character, and according to the series, time flows differently in various realms and for various entities, so nobodies probably aged in a different way than regular people.
Now we continue with Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
When it comes to cut content, this game was definitely not shy of any, ranging from an incomplete Jungle Book world to a bareback Aqua. While those are indeed interesting, let's look at some other cut features that would have changed the course of the game and future installments.
The first is the Gathering Secret movie that was featured in Kingdom Hearts 2. Here we have an armored Terra, Aqua, and Ventus at what will be known as the Keyblade Graveyard. What is staggering is that Terra seems to have recently slain a giant creature that eventually fades away.
When looking at the features of this thing, the closest creature we can associate it with is with the Xemnas Dragon from Kingdom Hearts 2, albeit a smaller version of this. This is very interesting because by the series events, Xemnas nor his dragon were remotely a thought at this point. Xehanort at this point in time was still an old man. He will go on to possess Terra that will produce the nobody Xemnas much later in the series.
So a Xemnas dragon was there. That's cool. And now we can talk about what this may have meant. Since the trailer was attached to Kingdom Hearts 2, and, the Xemnas dragon was there and all, it was a pretty arduous battle, but it seems that Terra, and possibly Ventus and Aqua, had very little issues taking down this beast. Perhaps that was the reasoning for its inclusion. Or perhaps what could have been is that the dragon was originally supposed to be associated with Xehanort, and was dispatched by him as a boss fight for Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, showcasing its origin.
This could be true, as it's revealed in Birth by Sleep that the armor that Xemnas wears on top of the dragon's head was originally Master Xehanort's Keyblade armor, so there is that connection. Also in Birth by Sleep, it showed the origin of the Guardian that would go on to be predominantly used by Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. So maybe what could have been was that the dragon was supposed to be created and given an origin, just like the Guardian was given an origin. Since Guardian would go on to be connected to Ansem, the dragon would go on to be connected to Xemnas.
Another interesting aspect in the Gathering trailer are the 3 Keyblades that you see in the middle of the landscape. Right away, you can tell that they are the Kingdom Key, Kingdom Key D, and the Way to the Dawn, the Keyblades wielded by Sora, Mickey, and Riku respectively. The Keyblades are then picked up by Terra, Aqua, and Ventus. Terra picks up the Kingdom Key, while Aqua picks up the Kingdom Key D, and Ventus picks up the Way to the Dawn. It is unclear if these Keyblades were going to be used by these 3, but maybe their slight association could have some hidden meaning in foreshadowing their fates.
Aqua picks up the Kingdom Key D, the Keyblade that is from the Realm of Darkness. Aqua ends up being trapped in the Realm of Darkness. Terra picks up the Kingdom Key, the obvious representation of the Realm of Light. Terra's fate has been locked to the Realm of Light, although his being is scattered. And Ventus picks up the Way to the Dawn, a Keyblade that is associated with light and darkness, as the road that walks down the middle, or the in-between. And as we all know, Ventus's fate is that he loses his heart and becomes comatose, where Aqua hides his body in what became the Castle Oblivion, which is in the world that resides in the realm in between. The realm between the realms of light and darkness.
This cryptic foreshadowing may have been something Nomura had been planning from the beginning as a nod. Or perhaps what could have been is that these Keyblades were to be used by the main protagonists. Or that they would be seen in visions or as hints, to hint towards their ghastly fate, but by the time they realized what it all meant, it was too late.
Or perhaps what could have been, or what could be, is that these Keyblades are symbolic meanings towards the people that will save the fallen Keyblade wielders.
The Kingdom Key D represents Mickey saving Aqua. As it turns out, with the news about Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Burp by Sleep, a fragmentary passage, it seems Mickey knows that Aqua is in the Realm of Darkness. And Mickey does seem to know his way around that realm, as he was able to find the Kingdom Key D while it was there. So it is very likely that he could find her.
The Way to the Dawn represents Riku saving Ventus. Riku is very skilled at traversing the worlds thanks to his time in the darkness. Since he conquered the darkness in Dream Drop Distance and became a Keyblade Master, perhaps he has the power to successfully traverse the Castle Oblivion in order to locate Ventus.
Terra, picking up the Kingdom Key, represents Sora saving Terra. Sora already came into contact with Terra's lingering will in Kingdom Hearts 2, so he knows where a piece of Terra is, and with his innate abilities to mend the connections of people's hearts and existences, perhaps he will be the one to put Terra back together, especially since he has Ventus's heart within him, which can act as a guide to his best friend. Nomura is a tricky beast, and he always plugs in hints to the future of Kingdom Hearts in his games, so this could be a very real possibility.
The Road of Destiny has many paths, and if these removed ideas and concepts were to remain in the Kingdom Hearts series, it would have painted a drastically different picture for each game and the entire legacy. But right now, all we can do is wonder what could have been.
And this isn't the only time we speculate on what could have been. You can click here to see us both tackle the Legend of Zelda series and what it could have been. It's over on my channel. There's also a link in the description, by the way.
Most definitely, so be sure to check that out. And while you're there, subscribe to Gnoggin if you love gaming and using that old noggin. See what I did there? So if you liked the video, please like, favorite, and share with your gaming legions. So, until the next one, this has been HMK and Gnoggin, and we will check you guys later.
much.